This conference will now be recorded.
So, how was your last week? Anyone got time to go through some materials, what I shared, some questions and all? Any doubts from that? Anyone has? Okay, I hope things were good. So, yeah, so it was a little long back gap. So, I will quickly recap the things what we took also, a 5 minutes recap. Then slowly we will move on to today's topic. Basically, today we will focus on a basic element flow recording, because if I remember, the last we stopped was we were discussing on a scenario, how to identify a scenario and a flow. We will start from there. I mean, like continue from there, and then we will today we will be majorly looking into a hands-on. Okay, like even JMeter setup we all saw, right? All of you are able to set it up, and your JMeter is running in your system, right? Can you confirm? Please raise your hand. So all those who are
Yeah, yes,
JMeter,
Vishnu.
yeah, is running properly. Okay, great. So most of you, JMeter is running properly. Ajit, for you also, right? I assume. Okay, right. So I assume that most of you, JMeter is properly running. There's no issue in that. And even Java version, you are able to see, right? So that's why the JMeter is running. So ultimately our setup is complete, right? So we don't have any issue there. So next, what we'll be focusing on is how to record a session in JMeter. So there are multiple ways to record a flow. So what is recording? What are the various ways of recording? What are the things you need to take care when you are recording a flow in JMeter? What are the small challenges you face when you are recording? So those things and all we will try to see today. So majorly it will be a hands-on more than theory today. The theoretical part will not be there much today. It will be majorly on the JMeter recording. Okay, what we will focus on in today's session. Yeah, so let me share my screen. Give me a minute. My voice is audible to all, right?
Yes, Vishnu.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, yes, Vishnu.
Yeah, if at all any issue comes in between, do let me know. Okay, I can change my mic. Okay, right. So let's get started. So in the last session, we were seeing on the scenarios, right? Like what is a scenario, how to identify a flow and a scenario, and some different things, right? Like what's a business critical transaction and all those stuff. So today we'll be continuing from there, and we'll start with JMeter. So let me share my screen.
We can see your screen, Vishnu.
Yeah, thank you. Right. So let me switch on JMeter. So I'm just opening JMeter. So just go to the JMeter. So I have created a shortcut here. So how you need to open JMeter, I will show it again. So just go to the file location. I'll just go there. So basically I have extracted my files in this folder. Okay. So if I go to the bin folder, right, from where I have extracted, if I go to the bin folder, we saw these things in the last sessions, but again, just showing. So to run JMeter, what you need to do is run the Windows batch file. So there are two ways. You will see a jar file also. You can run that also. But Windows batch file is more better. Okay, if you run with that, there is a reason behind it. But uh, I will explain. Okay, what's the reason? So generally, Windows batch file, if you run, is more better. Okay. So this is Windows batch file JMeter. So run it. So now we are here. Okay. So this is we discussed the dashboard, how it looks, and how the JMeter, when you land on, right, it will look like. Now coming to the recording. Okay. So when you record, okay, or what do we mean by recording in JMeter? Okay, let's try to understand that. So to record in JMeter, there are some three important ways in which you can bring a flow into your JMeter. So one is using your JMeter recorder, JMeter test script recorder element, which is the most classic way of doing it and most common way. I won't say common, but mostly this is possible in multiple situations. Okay, that I will explain. Okay, because based on what situation you are in, you have to choose your recording method. Second is using this plugin. Third is using, we already saw, using Fiddler or some tool. Okay, we can bring our requests into JMeter. Fourth is using, let's say, CURL method, but there you have to manually build one request, right? Even Fiddler also similar case will happen. That end-to-end flow directly will not come into your JMeter. Okay, so that problem will come. And fifth is obviously manually building it, which is the last option, manually building it. Okay, so see, now these are the two important ways to record an end-to-end flow directly using JMeter test script recorder and BlazeMeter plugin. Now this JMeter test script recorder is actually an element in JMeter. Okay, so it's an inbuilt element in JMeter, so you don't need to install anything else. If you have JMeter, then pretty much things are good. Okay, only thing is in this there's a proxy setup which you need to do. Proxy setup. Second is something called an SSL certificate setup, which you need to do when you're working with this HTTPS test script recorder in JMeter. And obviously, you need to know about this element, how you use it, some basic settings in that, what they are and all. So to just show you quickly, if I just right click add, there's a non-test element called HTTPS test script recorder. If you see, these are the various options inside that HTTPS test script recorder, which you need to know what they are, okay, and how to do it and how to use it. That we will see, obviously. Okay, this is one way. Now the second way is using the BlazeMeter plugin. Now, obviously, this BlazeMeter plugin you have to install, and generally it is installed in the browser, Chrome, in the Chrome browser. So there is a dependency of installation here. You have to install one extra software. Second is whatever you record, right? It actually gets basically we can say gets saved in their cloud also, right? So there's a data privacy issue also which comes into picture when we are using this plugin, because when you're recording something, which we'll see soon using the BlazeMeter plugin, whatever you're recording actually gets added in their cloud. So from there you download that script, right? So that data privacy is a problem when we use this plugin. Second is you have to install, right? It's not that always every organization will allow you to install the software or install it in the Chrome. Even you need a Chrome browser also. Sometimes you might not have it. You might have only Internet Explorer, and we don't know whether they that plugin will can be installed there, right? So generally it is with the Chrome store we install it, right? So this such type of installation issues and all comes, but this setup things, right, is not required in this case. So that is a pro. So cons we already saw, right? But the setup, the proxy setup, the SSL certificate setup, this is not required in this step or in using this method. It is very straightforward, very easy. But for element in JMeter, these things are little bit tricky to be done. But if done, it's very safe. It can beautifully record things. You can do. There are other better I mean, like there are better reasons to use this element in JMeter over this. Okay, so if you're going for a basically if you're a pro, you go with this first method. If you are not a pro, you go with the second method generally. So always element in JMeter is actually more I mean, like useful in a um, bigger way. Okay, so what we'll do today is we'll try to see these recording methods one by one. And Fiddler, I will park for now. Basically, this Fiddler method is used when you are recording for a mobile app. Okay, that we will see. Okay, when we reach the mobile app recording or that time we will look into it. CURL method we already saw in past sessions also, how I just copy the CURL and bring the request one by one into JMeter, right? The next is manually building it, obviously copying, pasting the URL path and the headers and all one by one, right? So that's the method, right? So these are basically, I can say, the most common methods of recording in JMeter. Okay, these 5 methods. So we will now these methods you have to choose based on your condition, right? In what condition you are, what you are testing and all. And we already saw some reasons behind choosing one after next. Now when we start building it, it will be more clear. Okay, we should choose in which situation. So let's start with the BlazeMeter plugin first. Okay, today. So any questions anyone till now? Any doubts?
No.
All good, right?
Vishnu, other plugin kind of, this bad boy and all will not allow to record.
You can. So that's what I said is we need to like for example Fiddler I said you have Charles also, Charles proxy, right? So there are
Okay.
multiple other tools also. It's not that we cannot,
Okay.
but these 5 are the
Okay.
most generally reliable ones, I can say.
Okay. Okay. Fine.
Okay, yeah, okay, right. So now let's see the second method. Okay, so we are now going to see the second method, which is recording using BlazeMeter plugin. See, whatever I'm writing on this whiteboard, right? Actually, you can use it as notes, okay? Because the other things might be a lot of content and even recording also. So if you want to jot it down quickly, you can jot down whatever I'm writing on this whiteboard, because that will be more sort of like a notes, okay? So for a quick reference, right, you can create something so that this long sessions, whatever we have, you'll have a note after that, right? Just to quickly remember, like before an interview or even like when we are implementing something in an organization, quickly we know, okay, these are the things there in JMeter which I studied. So quickly you will, I mean, like it will recall for you. It will generate a recall for you. So that will be useful. So you can jot it down if you want quickly. Okay, whatever I write on the whiteboard. And yeah, handwriting might be little bad, but you I feel you can still figure out what I'm writing. Okay, recording using JMeter. So first step is to do this. Now what is the conditions or in which you can use this recording technique? Okay, first is you are free to install. This is very important. Install the plugin from Chrome Web Store. Obviously, so for that you need Chrome also, right? Google Chrome should be there, right? Second is the transactions are like whatever you're doing, don't violate privacy or share critical data. This is also very important, okay? Because ultimately your data is very critical, because as I said, the BlazeMeter plugin will store whatever transaction you are doing in their cloud. Okay. Third, the way you record, okay, that I will explain. The recording log is not required, isn't required. I will explain what this third point is, which is very critical. Okay, this third point you will understand only when we see the element in JMeter also, the test recorder in JMeter, because this is where the test recorder element actually, I said, right, like if you're a pro, you go with that. The reason is this third point that we will see. Okay. And so basically these are the three important conditions actually you need to worry about before you go ahead with the BlazeMeter plugin. Okay. Let's now see how we use BlazeMeter plugin. What is the setup for that? So let's go to Chrome. Now in Chrome, you need to search BlazeMeter plugin Chrome store. Just search this BlazeMeter plugin Chrome store. Okay. Now this first one you will see. Okay, BlazeMeter, the continuous testing platform, and the URL is the Chrome Web Store.google.com. Right. So click on that. So you will land on this page. So now you are in the Chrome Web Store. You see in the extension section, BlazeMeter continuous testing platform, and also see the ratings and number of users who have downloaded it, because there might be some similar ones also with similar names and all. So let's not confuse with that, right? So BlazeMeter, the continuous testing platform, with someone like users of download, and just observe, okay, what I'm doing. Now, in my case, it's already there. So what I will do is I'll just remove it from Chrome for just for showing you. So I removed it. Now in your this add to Chrome option will come, right? Click on add to Chrome. This pop-up will come. Click add extension. So see, automatically it will come up here. Now just click on this small puzzle like icon here and just pin it. This pin one, right? So it will appear here. See, automatically it will appear here. If that pin is not there, it will not appear. See, so just pin it. Okay. Now this icon will appear here. Click on that icon, small icon. So you will see this small pop-up. Okay. Now see, there is one catch here. Okay. When you are doing this, or when you're installing this BlazeMeter plugin, now once you record it, you can download that script. Okay, for example, let me show you quickly. Just I'm in script here, the name, and I'm just starting the recording. I'll explain, okay, what I'm doing. I'm just showing you a few things. Now I just go here. Let's say I search some application. Okay, demo blaze. Just will go here and something like. Now what I'll do is I'll just stop the recording. So the recording has stopped. Now here one save option will come. Save, download the recording basically. So click on that save. Now if you see here, there are only two options, Selenium and JMeter and Selenium combined, which is YAML. So both these options are not useful to us. We need only JMX, right? Because that's our JMeter file. So generally the JMeter file will have an extension of .jmx. Okay. So we need that only. So what we will do? So to get that option, within this save option, what you need to do is you need to log in or sign up. Okay, so this is where I said your data actually also goes to the cloud, because based on the user signed in, they will store it in your account, right? So in a way, they are actually storing it in their drive. Obviously, they will not maybe privacy and other things, but still the data goes, right? So to do that, just log in. If you're for doing it for first time, just do sign up. I have already an account, right? So I will just sign in with that. Okay. So once I sign in, just go back, click on that icon. And now if you see, my name appeared here, right? So I'm actually logged in now. Now, if I try to record something, let's say again, I click on start recording. And let's say I go to an application and I just stop the recording. And now if I click save, are you seeing a new option now for JMX? Able to see?
Yes.
Right? So now if I just click on the check mark, the domains because what happens sometimes when we are recording, multiple tabs are open, right? So some other things might peep in, right? So choose whichever domain you are actually recording. So it is domainblast.com, right? So that you can see here. If I click on save here, JMeter, and see. So I can select that and I can click save. So it's so simple, right? It will just record and your JMX file gets downloaded. Now this JMX file you can open in JMeter. So how you can open? Either you can just go to downloads. This is the script we have. So we just go here and just drop it here. It will get opened. See, automatically the script got loaded, it opened. The other ways, you can just go here, file, open, and go to the downloads, and wherever you downloaded, see, it's here, right? Open that. Click on open. That's the other way of opening it. Okay. So now if you see, automatically whatever I did, right, the demoblaze.com, it got, I mean, like that request got recorded in JMeter, and we can see that even the headers, you see here, all the headers got added, and we did only one request. That's why you're seeing only one request. Now in a flow, it will not be one request, it will be multiple requests. So we will also see how we do that. Okay. But in a basic way, this is how you export a JMeter file from BlazeMeter plugin and bring it into JMeter. Any doubts in that till now?
No, Vishnu.
Okay, all good.
So
No, Vishnu.
Vishnu, every time we need a script, we need to save it and download and then upload. That is what we have to do every time. There is no integration.
Integration in sense how directly it will come here.
Like it in the JMeter or putting somewhere in the file, a JMeter folder or somewhere directly copying to there and
Yeah,
opening
so
as a.
it's see now the thing is we have this the JMeter element here, right? So the JMeter element when
Uh-huh.
you record, right, using JMeter element, it will come directly in JMeter.
Okay.
Okay, but when you're
Mhm.
doing a BlazeMeter plugin, you will have to download
Mhm.
and open it in JMeter.
In a plugin manager, we can't add this plugin.
No, no, no. No. So basically, see, why I'm saying again, there's a reason behind it also. When you are doing a scripting activity, recording is just 1% of that.
Hmm.
Okay, means like if you are doing a scripting activity for 15 days, recording
Ah,
will be only for 1 day.
correct.
Okay, or rest of the 14-day effort will be in the enhancement.
Enhancements. Yes.
Yeah. So this is like a small work only. I mean, like small work means like you don't
Correct.
need to do it
Correct.
every time, right?
Yes. Yes.
So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Any other questions, anyone?
No, Vishnu.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, right. So in chat, I can see. Sorry. Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. So now, see, I recorded one request. Now, how do I record multiple requests like a flow, right? Let's try to understand. So for that, I will choose a very basic application for now, initially, since we are just starting off with, so that we can understand things better. Okay. So this one, blazedemo.com, a very basic application. It's like a flight ticket booking application. Okay, and it's a very basic one, few steps, so that it's easy for us to understand in a initial stage, right? How the recording works and all. It's helpful. So let's try with this. So again, I'll click on Blaze Demo. I'll click on. I'll give a name. Okay, this time I'll give Blaze Demo. I'll give V1, like a version one. Okay. Sometimes we might have to record one or two times, right? So better to keep some version, right, just to identify. So I'll give version one. Now I'll click on record. Okay, so first what I'll do, I'll give a transaction name launch. Now this is very important. This is basically I'm grouping my requests. Okay, so once I enter launch, I will click on add step. Okay, so now if you see, it is 0 0. Okay, basically this is the count of requests which is getting captured. Now it is 0 0. In JMX it is 0, UI it is 0. Now what I'll do, I'll just launch it. Okay. Now if you see, are you seeing 2 now in JMX? Able to see? this 2 here, right? Now what I'll do, next step I will add is find flights. Let's say find flights. I'll click on add step. Now it is 0, 0. I'll click on find flights. If you clearly see, there is one UI and two JMX, right? The requests. Now what I'll do, choose flight. So I'll just enter choose flight. I'll click add step. And if I click on choose this flight, again see those requests came here, right? Next is maybe fill. Okay, what's the step? Okay, purchase flight. So I'll give purchase flight. And click add step, or you can press enter also. Basically it's similar to add step. Okay, it automatically gets added. So now here I'll enter the form bit something, then here I will give, like, let's say 26 or something here. Even I'll select remember me, or I'll not select. Okay, and now what I'll do is I'll click on purchase flight. So thank you for your purchase. So now what I'll do is I will just stop the recording because we have reached the end, right? Our ticket has been purchased. So then I'll stop the recording. Okay. Now if you see, I will go to the save JMX, and blazedemo.com is my URL or the domain which I was recording. I'll select that and click save. Once it gets saved, go to the folder, the downloads folder basically. Now what I'll do is I'll just drag and drop it here. Give used to save. No, I'm not saving anything. So now our script is now into JMeter. And if you see, okay, let me maybe increase the size. So to increase the size of JMeter, just go to these options and click on zoom in. Okay. So pretty much things will become a little bigger. Okay. So now if you see Blaze demo, this is my script. Launch is there, find flight is there, choose flight is there, purchase flight is there. So if I go inside, there's launch request, find flight request, choose flight request, and purchase flight request. So now this is a end-to-end scenario for, I'll give purchase flight scenario. So the thread group name I changed, purchase flight scenario I gave. Okay, so it looks a little better, beautiful, right? Now this is how the things will look when you do it initially. Okay, I mean, like when you record. Now just to see whether whatever I recorded, is it running properly or not? There's a reason behind it. Okay, why we need to run it properly. So for that, I'll just right click here, add, and I'll add a listener. Two listeners I'll add. Generally these two listeners you'll add in most of the scripts. Okay, initially when you are creating a script or recording or debugging things, right? One is view results tree. The second one is either aggregate report or summary report. Okay, you can choose any one of these. So in aggregate report, you have some few options, more options on the response time. In summary report, you don't have this 90th percentile and all. That's the difference. Okay. Now what I'll do is in the thread group. Okay, thread group where you define the number of users which you need to run and all. Okay, so for now, just other options I'll explain. Okay, slowly when we go ahead. So initially, I'll just run with one user, just one loop. Okay, what is loop and all I'll explain. So just initially, and to run the test, what I need to do is just click on this green color arrow at the top. There are two options that also I'll explain what they are. For now, let's click on the second one. And if you see now, so we have 4 requests. The first one, we got the response. The HTML might not work because if it is not an HTML5 website, the HTML view might not work. Yeah. So that That's okay, perfectly fine. Okay, because you have to see it as a text response. Basically, that HTML response, what you got, right? It's correct. Now next is reserve.php. Yes, see, if you see in the reserve.php, we were choosing the flight, right? So you are seeing choose flight, and it is showing other options, right? Then purchase. In the purchase, we were actually filling a form, like for example, secret card type and all we were filling. Then we had the confirmation, basically the confirmation screen, the response where the uh, uh, flight ticket was confirmed, right? But if you see, you are seeing two options, right? To have, but it doesn't look that good, right? Two options. So to make it one, see, now there are different controllers we use. Here it is a transaction controller, but I will explain what controllers are when we go to that section. Okay, controllers, there are various types of controller. Now in this, it's a transaction controller in which Blaze Demo has added the request. So to group it properly, just select this generate parent sample. Select this generate parent sample in every request controller. Okay. Now if I run it again, so now if you will see it beautifully, four options. Okay, launch, find flight, choose flight, and purchase flight. Okay, and if I go to aggregate report, I can get the response times of each also. Now this is for one user, one request. Is there a load here? Is there a load here?
No,
No. It
no,
is similar to your browsing in your browser. Nothing. I mean, like there's no difference, because just one user, he's doing launch, then he's doing finding flight, he's doing choose flight, and purchasing the flight. Right? It is similar to that. Now let's say if I want to add more users, so let's say I give 5, and I run it for, let's say, I will select infinite, and I just run it for, let's say, some 20 seconds. I give 20 seconds here. Specify thread lifetime duration 20 seconds. Now, what is ramp up period and all this we will see in detail. Okay, but for now, just giving you a feel of what we are doing. So now just run it. So now the test is running for multiple users, which is 5 users, which you can see here. The number of users running. See, you can see it here, and you also see the throughput also increased from one user. Initially, it was one user. That time, my throughput was very low. I mean, like, anyways, it was not a throughput. We were running just one count. But are you seeing now the samples being hit? It's continuously getting hit, right? So this is how now it is 5 users, basically 5 users. And also, if you observe, my response time also actually increased, and then user count increased in a way. Okay, and error percentage is pretty much 0. There's no problem, because now why that is happening, there is a reason. It won't be always like this. Okay, because now in this scenario, launch and find flight, actually there is no connection. Connection means like there's no parameter which is checking that a user has launched the application or not. Means the user can directly go to find flights also, or choose flight, or purchase flight also, to purchase a flight with that specific options. If you see here in the purchase flight, I can directly pass in the in the request the whatever I need to change, right? That address, credit card number, and all. If I go to choose flight, I can pass the flight details directly here, what I'm selecting there, right, in the UI. And similarly, find flights, basically from and to, you're seeing. And the request, if you see, it's a post request. Here it is a purchase flight, it's a post request, right? So this way, basically, we are hitting requests one after another in a flow, right? Launch, but it won't be always like this. Like there will be a connection between launch and find flights. That time, what will happen is your script will fail. You have to do something called correlation, even parameterization and all that we will see. Okay, as we progress. Now, this is a very basic script which we are looking at. Okay, so yeah, so that is how you record an end-to-end flow in BlazeMeter plugin. Okay, and now you might ask me a question: where is the header? Right here, you can see only the request. It is header. Header is actually at the top. What BlazeMeter has done is it has put it here, because this header is actually shared by all the requests. All the requests have same header. That's why it has put it at the top. Now, if each request had different headers, maybe in some situation it might happen. In that case, you will have to add the header. Means like it will get added at the bottom in this group itself. Okay. Anyways, that we will all these things we will see as we progress. Now, what is cookie manager? What is cache manager? What is authorization manager? Request default, and all these things we will see. Okay. as we progress. Yeah. So any doubts, anyone till now? Any questions?
So Vishnu, this constant timer is added as a think time default while we are recording itself.
Yes, it is added by BlazeMeter plugin.
The base
I mean,
meter,
like,
while it
but
might
you
be think time between the.
right, yeah, but you have to delete it. Okay, you don't
Okay,
need it now because
okay,
that's why if you see, I use the second arrow. The second arrow is actually you are ignoring the think time. Okay, you are not running it with think time.
okay.
You are ignoring the think time. There's a reason why we don't use the automatic think time. We will use our think time. What we decide
Hmm.
using Little's law and all, we will plan the think time and we will put it. Okay, so yeah, right.
Yeah,
So
it
there
is.
is one few other things which you need to worry about when you are recording in BlazeMeter plugin. Yeah, someone had some doubt. I got some voice. So can you all raise your hands till now? You're all with me quickly. Yeah, good. I have two. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ajit also. What about others? Kanaya, Kannamai, Kanaya, all good?
Yeah, Vishnu, all good.
Okay, right. So let's move on. Yeah, these are see anyway simple topics. I know there won't be much queries here, but main queries will come. I know where. Okay, like in the correlation, parameterization, even assertions. Though they look easy, major queries will come there. Now the HTTPS test script recorder element in JMeter queries will come surely because the setup is not that easy. Okay, that soon we will be seeing after this because it's a pretty little complicated setup, and also what happens there is there are some challenges you face, okay, when you do that. But from my experience, I know why that issues come, right? So, but I will be explaining you that beforehand itself, right? When you're setting it up itself, do this so that you can avoid that issue, right? Those things I will be, anyways, the queries will be more there in that case. Now, BlazeMeter plugin is that's why used by many because it is very easy to set up. But the case is not with the HTTP test script recorder. It's a bit I mean, like little bit of setup is required there. But the other thing, good thing about JMeter test script recorder is when you are recording a complex scenario, like for example, a e-commerce store scenario and all, there are a lot of pros with that. Okay, like the recording log and all those stuff that we will see when we go there. Right. Now, see one more thing in BlazeMeter plugin when you are recording, one thing you need to remember is some options you have here in the advanced options. So you have some options like this, okay, disable browser cache, wipe service workers, record Ajax request, and all those. So due to these things, what will happen is you might not get, you will see that some requests are not getting captured, okay, because you haven't chosen the proper setting here, okay. So let me show an example. Let's say I'm going to demo Blaze. So you don't need to worry that, okay, that request is not coming. That's because you haven't selected the proper checkboxes here. That will explain. Okay. So let's say I'm doing demo Blaze. Okay. And I'm just clicking on recording and I'm just doing, let's say, home. Click on home and let's say Lumia. Just randomly, okay. I'm just doing just to show you what's happening. Art, product added. Then let's say go to about us. Some random things I'm doing. Just now I'll click on stop recording. I click on save JMX demo place and click on save. Okay, so the it gets saved. Just open the downloads and let's open this in our JMeter. Nice. This is home, which I have, and Lumia. But the problem here is if I go to home here now, okay, I go to home and if I just to inspect the network and I just reload it once. and I just go to here to cart, add it. Because what happens now, let's say I am just doing login. Okay. Yeah, let's record this login request. Okay. There's a reason why. I'll just do sign up first. I'll again record, click sign up, add step. Okay, so let me change to 5. Successful. Now what I'll do is I'll just log in. Okay, right? Now I'll just stop the recording, save, JMX, save it. So this main problem now what we are trying to tackle here is an AJAX request. Okay. Now AJAX is a request which we call a synchronous request, asynchronous request. So what happens with that is that will never go to your server. I mean, like it will go to server, but it happens in a through JavaScript. Okay, there's no reload or something happening. So to capture that, you need to choose some settings in Blaze demo. That's what I'm trying to show you. Okay, what? So for example, here. Now, if you observe here, where is my sign up request? Able to see sign up here? But I did sign up, right? If you saw the way I recorded. But are you able to see here?
No.
No, right? So this is the catch. Okay, because that sign up which I clicked is actually in Ajax. Ajax means, what do I mean by Ajax? Is when I click on this, okay, let me log out. So when I click on the sign up, your page is not reloading. Did you observe that?
It's coming as pop-up.
Yeah, it's a pop-up, it's a modal, right? So it's basically happening through JavaScript. That okay, the processing actually of that pop-up coming is happening in your browser itself. It's not going to a server. Only when I click on this sign up, the request is going to a server, but that also through JavaScript. It's not happening through reload, right? But when this reload happens, that time only actually JMeter will consider it as a, not JMeter, PlaceMeter will consider it as a request, unless you don't choose some option. So what is that is, if you go to PlaceMeter, advanced options, here what you do is, you have to choose record Ajax request, this option, and disable browser cache. That is also important. Even wipe service workers, that is also important. Now, what is disable browser cache is important is because some things will be stored in your cache, okay, in your browser cache. Now, when you try to record something, if it's already there in your browser cache, your server request will not come because it will pick from your browser, right? These things I'll explain, okay? Why you need to, why browser cache is important, that I will explain later. But select that also, these three options, okay? And randomize recorded think times and all not required. Other things you can keep it same, no need of using anything. Now click on record this time, okay, with those settings, that first three checkboxes. Now what I'll do again sign up. I will just select some option. See, these are some minute or small things you need to worry about, okay? Because see, recording is not a rocket science. It's very easy to do, but you need to know where things will go wrong, because maybe this is a small thing, but there won't be anyone to help you out who knows this, okay, when you are doing, right? So that will again, you will have to spend time on searching for what's the issue. So you need to understand what are the small issues that will come, right? Because first of all, when okay, someone is not speaking, can they unmute? Pradeep? Yeah, okay, thank you. Yeah, I'll come to the question, Pradeep, soon, okay? Yeah. Right. So that's why, because even sometimes what will happen is, see, now if you're working with a very big application, now here I came to know, okay, sign up is not recorded because I know, okay, it's a small application. But there might be situations where you don't know that something got missed. You might create a script, you will do that, you will run a test, and later on you find out, oh, there was this request is missing, right? So these are the settings you need to surely have, okay, when you're recording. Now click on sign up successful. Now let's say I click on login and I will log in with that same data. Okay. Now I'll stop the recording. Let's go here. Let's download our script. Okay. I think I didn't download. Save. Now, if I try to drag and drop here, now if you see, are you able to see two requests now? Even sign up? Able to see? It's lit. Able to see sign up and login now clearly, and
Yes.
other important requests also. Yeah, some will be unwanted requests which we need to filter out, that we will see in upcoming sessions how you filter out some unwanted requests. But now if you clearly see sign up is recorded. Now do you see the difference? That sign up is a very important request, right? If you would have missed this request, then is your script ready? Can I say it's ready?
No.
No, it's not ready.
Yes. And also see, now here, as I said, it's a simple transaction, so we know. Now let's say there are 6 transactions here. If even one of these transactions are not available in this, I mean, like it didn't get captured due to some reason, you might not know, right? So you run a test without that transaction. Is that correct? Your results will be correct.
No.
What?
No.
They're
No,
not.
right?
And other thing also can happen, right, Vishnu? Sometimes transaction is recorded, some request only recorded, other requests are missing.
Exactly. So that time your other request will also fail because that is not there.
Yeah,
Okay. So those things, all
correct.
these things will happen. So it will become messy. Okay. And you will spend a lot of time thinking of what is going wrong. But the main issue was your recording setup itself, right? So it has to be very carefully handled. So yeah, so these are some things which I wanted to call out. Yeah, any doubts anyone till now?
No, Vishnu.
Okay, right. So see, now there is one more thing here, one more thing you need to worry about is your cache and cookie. Okay, now what this cache and cookie is, it's very important. Let me quickly explain that to you. Now, can anyone quickly explain me your understanding about cache?
Removing your browsing history and plugins or whatever
Actually,
it
voice is not
it
that
captures some
audible.
memory. It captures
Mm,
some memory like username, passwords, or anything. It will capture.
what you said is correct, but the data
Ma-
what it captures is
okay,
not correct.
is
Okay. Yeah.
okay. It
Username,
captures
password.
memory.
Yes, yes. Yeah. That is correct. Anything else?
Cookies
Kept
means
files.
like unwanted data which is not required.
It
Can't say
stores
that.
cache.
Mm. Yeah, please go ahead.
It
Good.
will
It
remove the
stores the
login
data
and all
temporarily.
credentials also.
Okay. Anything else?
So the
Frequently
previous
access to
session
data are
data,
stored in the cache.
Mm. Okay. So let me explain you this. Now everyone is it's a Netflix world nowadays, right? So let me take an example of Netflix itself. Okay. Let's say you are watching a movie. Okay. When you're watching a movie for the first time, it takes time for that movie to load. Okay, because it is fetching it from the server. Okay, so let me explain you that. Okay, let this whiteboard load. Got crashed in between. Yeah, so let's say I am on Netflix and I am watching a TV series. I don't know which is trending now, but let's say you're watching a TV, your favorite TV series on Netflix. So first time when you're opening that series, okay, or like let's say you're just clicking on the link, watch now or whatever, right? That time you will feel that there is little slowness. Now, once you start watching it, or maybe you go to that series for the second time. Maybe you watched for 5 minutes and then you went back, and now you are going back to continue or continue watching. That time you will see the load speed is little better. Now, why this happens is, then what's the difference between first time and the second time? It's caching. Okay, so in first time what happens is your movie gets loaded from server. Second time it gets loaded from your own machine, actually from your own mobile or your laptop, basically from your own browser. So how this happens is, let's say I have an image, it's 5 MB size image. So first time when I'm opening the image, server will send it to my browser. Second time what happens, right? Second time when I am trying to access this image, what this browser would have done, no? Browser would have stored that image in its storage itself, and it will deliver. It will not go to server at all. No need to go to server. That image is already stored in your browser. So that's why if you see here, if I go to some application, if I just go here, and if you see cookies and site data, see it has stored something, right? If I can see, like I can delete it based on the what data it is stored. Now if I go to some bigger application, it will store some more data. Okay, for example, let's say if I go to YouTube, let's say, okay, now if I just go here and just search here some site data, see the amount of data is little huge, right? YouTube and what it is storing data from site you are visiting and all those. I can delete that also because it's stored in my browser. I have the full control. But only thing is, when I delete it, next time things will be slower for the first time. Again, second time it will store, and even caching also, especially cookies, you have to give permission. Okay, caching sometimes will not happen without permission. You don't need to give any permission, but for cookies you need to give permission. I'll explain why. Okay? Yeah. So caching basically what it does is simple. Initially my image was stored in my server. Now it is stored in my browser. So things are faster. So that is caching. Okay. Now, so basically if I'm loading an application or a website, let's say there is an image, there is some lines of code, and there's some image. So all these heavy things, right, will stored in the browser. And next time when I open that application, those heavy things will come from the browser. The other things, like which is dynamic or which is changing from code and all, will come from the browser. I mean, like from the server. Now my question to all of you is, other than static files, so what do I mean by static files? Anyone? What do we mean by static files?
It's a fixed file. We
Won't
cannot
change.
change.
Fix it.
Correct. So if you have a JavaScript file, if you have a CSS file, if you have images, media, all these are static files. Even HTML code is a static file. Okay. But let's say if you have a PHP code, this is not static. Okay. This is dynamic. Okay. So static files are those which will not change very frequently based on what data is coming to it. Or I can say, like, let's say, if Pradeep is opening a website, let's say Krishna is opening a website, HTML is same for both of them. Nothing is changing. Image is same for both of them. It will not change. But PHP code might change, right? If Pradeep is accessing the website based on Pradeep's situation, state, and all, the PHP code will process something and it will give something back, right? So it is dynamic with PHP code. But for HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and all, things are not dynamic on the browser side. JavaScript is a browser processing language. Okay, basically the processing happens in your browser, so that's why it is also considered as static. But PHP is a server side scripting language, so the processing happens on the server, which is basically a logical processing and all. So it's a dynamic in nature. Okay, right. So now all the static files are there, right? These things actually get cached in your browser. Now the important question, let's say I changed an image in my application. Will it get reflected in my user's browser quickly? Will it? Hello?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah. Let's say I have a product in my application. It is a bucket. Okay. And I change the image of that bucket this time. Okay. But will that image get reflected in the browser? Because I changed it in the server, right? That image. Will it get reflected in the browser quickly?
On reload, it might get
You
changed.
need
Otherwise, no.
Mhm. Okay. So I can't say reload. The logic is pretty correct what you said. It's not reload. There's something called cache expiry. Okay. So every cache you can set up an expiry like 1 day or 1 hour. Okay, whatever. So based on if it's an e-commerce store, sometimes the cache expiry will not be very high. It will be maybe 10 minutes or 1 hour. So any change happening after 1 hour, the cache will get regenerated. Okay, means if you update an image also, that would have reflected already. Okay, that change come. Okay, now this happens because your static files are also little dynamic. In like in e-commerce store, the images are very dynamic, right? The new products might get added and all those. So that's why you keep a cache expiry. Now, if you have something like let's say some application where your things are pretty much static, this cache expiry you can keep it high, like 15 days and all. So your site will load very fast because server request will reduce too much, right? Because let's say there is cache and there is no cache. In cache, let's say 20 requests are going to a server. In no cache, it will be 50. So this extra 30 load is reduced when you have cache. Are you able to understand, all of you? Able to understand?
Yeah, Vishnu.
Yeah. So that way caching actually reduces your server load also. Okay, server load or even processing speed, it will increase because these 30 requests, it will load from the server itself, right? In your cache, browser itself, in your caching. It will be faster. So that's the difference between caching and no cache. Now, as a performance
Vishnu,
tester,
one
yeah,
question here. So
yeah.
this caching policies and all, again, this will be handled by CDN, or it will be through our dev code?
If you have CDN, then CDN will handle it. Yes, your dev will not handle, but you can set up the policy. Means if you have a CDN, you can set up the policies like expiry and all, even in CDN. Okay, because
Yeah,
ultimately, see
Vishnu.
whether you have CDN or not, this thing is actually a browser affected, not CDN affected, right? Because ultimately it's a browser which will store your cache. So expiry and all those things, the browser, it will affect the browser, not your CDN or your server, in a way, right? Okay. So as a
Yeah,
performance
Vishnu.
tester, I have one question. Okay, this caching, should we enable it or disable it? when you are doing a performance test?
Disable.
Enable.
Exactly. Yes, very good.
Enable.
It should be disabled. Now, why it should be disabled is, the reason is simple. When I'm doing a, let's say I am doing a car crash test. So when I will be doing a crash test, I will be looking for a worst case scenario, right? I will be hitting the car to to a rock, let's say. I will not be hitting the car to maybe a cotton sack. Are you getting my point? So when I'm doing a crash test, I'll be hitting it to a rock. I will not be hitting it to a cotton sack because I will have to look for the worst case scenario for the crash. Similar thing, if I'm doing a test with caching, my response time will be good or bad compared to non-caching.
Response time will be good.
Yes, exactly. When I have caching, response time will be good. When non-caching, response time will be bad. But can I always assume that a user will be in caching? No. My users might be non-caching mode, right? They might be the first users. And now when the first user is coming, they might see this response time. So my approval, performance test approval should happen for this non-caching response time, right? The response time which I get through non-caching. I have to improve that, not this one, which is already anyways caching is improving, right? So I have to improve the non-caching part. So so when I run a test, I have to do without caching, which is very, very important. Now, this thing is so important that there is a story I will share, maybe not today, tomorrow, where one of my colleague lost his job due to just this simple mistake. What he did with caching. He didn't do without caching. There's a story behind it. Okay, I'll explain that. I will give that story. I will, like, the reason why he lost the job. It was clearly he was removed because the loss the customer had to bear due to that small mistake was around $10 million. So are you all understanding how important performance test is? Though it's a very simple concepts what we are doing, but it has a very big impact when especially your client is from e-commerce or such heavy load applications. Okay, yeah. So without caching and caching, all of you are clear what is caching in a high level way? Any doubts?
Vishnu, it's clear.
Okay, right. So now, so it's always important that when you run a performance test, you have to disable your cache. So browser caching should be disabled. That's what actually you're doing with this HTTP cache manager here. This HTTP cache manager, you are selecting clear cache each iteration, one option. So this will take care of that. It will clear your cache every time you send a request. So every time it is non-cache basically. Okay. Now same thing you can do in your browser also. What you need to do is when you're opening some application, do inspect, go to network. Here there is one option called disable cache. Select that and just reload. So now it will always reload from the server, not from the cache. Okay. If CDN, then CDN. Not that it will come from always your server, right? If there is CDN, it will come from CDN. If no CDN, from your browser. Ultimately, it will not come from your browser, from the browser cache. If you select this disable cache option here. Okay, and when you're recording you have to choose this because sometimes what will happen in your recording, some request will not get captured because it is picking from cache. Okay, so this option has to be selected when you are recording in the BlazeMeter plugin, which is very, very important. And same option we are selecting here also, if you remember, disable browser cache. Okay, right. Now that's related to browser caching. Cookie, we will see tomorrow. Okay? I don't want to stretch too much today. Cookies, we will see tomorrow. What cookies are and what's the difference mainly between cookie and cache. Though the difference is very small, but it creates a very big impact. Okay, we will see that tomorrow. I will take some questions now.
Hello,
Yeah, Raghu.
sir. Will response time will be same if you enable or disable cache, or will be any difference?
No, it will be right. When you have cache enabled, response time will be like, let's say 2 seconds. But when you have cache disabled, it will be 5 seconds.
Yeah, that's my question because it has to. Yeah, got it.
Yeah, right. Yes, and
So
that is the
disabling
reason.
means it will take more time. Yeah,
Correct.
since the
And
data
that
is
is the
not
reason
present.
your SLA, what you compare, right? Means like what your customer needs. You have to compare it with non-cache, not cache.
Okay.
Okay.
So whenever you run the script, definitely, so cache will be, since you are checking the disable cache, so it will run. Okay. Got it.
Yes, exactly. Correct. Yeah. Any other questions, anyone?
Yeah, Vishnu.
Yeah, Krishna.
Yeah. So when you said about changing the image in server, when you said that it will take some
Krishna,
1
your
hour.
voice is little low. Can you speak little loudly?
Is it okay now?
I can hear. Yeah, but go ahead.
So when you said about the changing image in server, it will take some time to see the changes in the application, right?
Correct.
So if you use any DevOps tools like Jenkins or any other CI/CD pipeline tools, so that will also take that much time to give the response back.
See, it's basically ultimately what is your expiry, right? If you're updating some images and all, let it be through CI/CD or anything, it will take that much time, the expiry time.
So actually, why we are using DevOps tools is for reducing the time only, right?
No. See, DevOps tool is used for deploying it to your production. Okay. So when you deploy it to production, it doesn't mean that it will get reflected in your in users' browsers, right? Because that application the user has to open first. Will you be always keeping Amazon.com open? No. When you open that time only that change will come to you, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So basically here the caching is not server side caching. There is server side caching also that I'll explain later. Okay. This caching what I'm speaking about is browser caching. Okay. The thing that is getting stored in your browser.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you said about Fiddler to record in a mobile application. We use Fiddler, right? So
Yeah.
Fiddler is enough for recording the mobile application, or shall we need to use any other plugins or?
No, that is enough. That is enough. Now the reason why we use Fiddler or Charles proxy is it is little simpler. Using JMeter inbuilt also we can record, but it is easy using Fiddler and all. That we will see. Okay, how?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So actually, in automation testing, we use Selenium for record
Yeah.
test the application and Appium for separate for mobile application.
Correct.
So
So here
that's why I'm
JMeter
asking.
only. Yeah, testing JMeter only. Only thing to bring the request into JMeter, you need.
Hello.
Yeah, Krishna. Yeah. I'm audible or? I think Krishna is not able.
Yeah, Vishnu. Shall we need to test the gaming applications also in mobiles or web? I mean, desktop application?
Krishna, sorry, really, I'm not able to hear your question. There's a small noise and lag.
Yeah, hello. Is it audible now?
Yeah, better now. Yeah.
Yeah. So, shall we need to do performance testing for games and desktop applications also?
Yeah, we can. Yes, you can record Windows applications also in JMeter, but that actually is not in scope in our
No.
course. But we can.
Yeah, I'm not asking about Windows. I'm asking about games.
Yeah, games also. Why not?
Okay.
Yeah. But it's a little different way of handling it. Okay, because in performance test you will, as I said, you basically test your server performance. Now, if you have a game which is online game, right, which is going
Yeah.
through server, that you can
Yeah.
test. But which is an offline game, it will be a different way.
Okay. Yeah, I'm asking you about online only.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay then. So I think pretty much we are done with today, and we will continue tomorrow. Thank you all, and have a good day and good night. We'll continue meet tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Vishnu.
Thank you, Vishnu.
Thank you.